and we have both darts pressed in here in the back. So just a nice little bit of a curve there for her rear end. Our curvy doll. So now we're going to pick up that yoke again because we want to put the yoke in the front. So I have my piece of interfacing and I want to just go ahead and press this onto my piece. And I want to still be able to see where that match point is. So I'm just going to make it just a little bit darker so I can see it right there. I'm going to make these little marks just a little bit darker because once I put this on top, and remember I do want to put the interfacing on top of my marks because I want it on the back side of my fabric. I want those marks on the back side. I need to still be able to see them, so I'm just checking to make sure I can, which it looks like I can, which is great. And I'm going to take my press cloth with me because this is quite close to the edges of this fabric, and I'm just going to press this on here, and then we'll be ready to sew the front to the yoke. Okay. Alright, so now we have our yoke piece, which is nicely pressed together with our interfacing, so it's nice and stiff, and I can still see those markings, so that's great. And I can go ahead and unpin that front piece from the pattern. What you'll see now when we lay it out is you get this V piece here, and this one is going to fit right in there. And it's going to be similar to our curved piece. We're actually going to turn this around like this in order to put it in. Because we'll want this piece to come along here and this piece to come along here, right? Because it's going to turn like that. So what we'll do is we're going to lay down the skirt piece with the markings facing away from us. So it would be fashion fabric side up if you have pattern on your fabric. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this with the fashion fabric side down. So I'm seeing the interfacing part towards me. And the very first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my two little match points match up. Looks pretty darn good. And we'll just pin through them right there. So it needs a little bit of adjusting here. Perfect. So I've pinned it right there, and I pinned it perpendicularly like this, so I can make sure that it stays right where that match point is. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this piece along this side. I'm going to match up this little notch that we have here with the notch that's on this pattern piece. So again, we always want to start with what we know, and in this case what we know is where the notches are and where this end point is. So at the end of my fabric as well, I'm going to match up those edges. Just have that corner come right to the edge of that. I'm going to pin. And I can see from my pattern that I have a 1/2 inch seam allowance on here, so I'm pinning it about a 1/2 inch away from the edge.
Did you say the front skirt's fashion fabric down?
Fashion fabric side up towards me, and then the fashion fabric of the yoke is facing down. Yeah, good question. And then I want to rotate this piece down so I can attach this here, and you'll see that the skirt then becomes kind of a mess, and that's okay. Again, we're going to match up what we know. So we're matching up the notch, and then we're matching up the end. What you'll notice is that similar, again, to the curved piece, we're getting a little bit of excess right there in the middle. So we do want to clip, but we'll only need to clip once because it's just a single turn that we're trying to make. So right here at that skirt point, I would like to be able to kind of lay this skirt a little bit flatter so I can sew it a little bit easier, but it's pulling, so I can clip that. Towards the match point, but I'm not going all the way to the match point, just towards it. That way it opens up a little bit more, and now it will make it much easier for me to sew the yoke in.
Did you only clip the skirt, not the yoke?
That's correct, only the skirt part. Yep, and only like right there in the center. So on here it would be from here towards the match point. Okay. That allows it to do is hang down like this. And now I can sew with the yoke up and I can see what I'm doing, and this is not going to be as much of a problem as it was a minute ago, which is great. I'm going to get even just a little bit closer to the match point.